Good morning, Marianna FFA and Marianna Ag Department. Tony Watkins, your ag teacher here, and we're out at Ziegler's farm. This is Lazy Acres Farm.
Lazy Acres Family Farm.
Awesome. And tell us who we got with us today, Mr. Ryan.
Well, my name's Ryan Ziegler, and my wife Kelly and I own and operate the farm. This is Dylan, this is our middle son, and this is Nathan. This is our youngest son. Garrett is actually over in the garden right now because he has to go to class or to work in just a little bit.
Okay. All right, well, tell us a little bit about your place here and what your goals are and what we're doing here.
Okay. Well, we raise cows and pigs and chickens, and we sell USDA inspected beef, pork, and our poultry at typically 3 different farmers markets. If it's not COVID-19, it would be 3 different farmers markets.
Okay.
And at our farm store. We have an own farm store where we sell our products. We do have a bull or 2 bulls out here right now, and both of those bulls are going to be for the purpose of beef. We had such a rush and a run on our farm store. I bought a couple of bulls. They were fairly inexpensive right now, and so they look real good. They're going to be here for a month to 3 months, you know, give or take, and then we're going to take them to the processor.
Okay. Where do you process your meat?
Our meat processor is in Esto, Florida. Brock's Meats over in Esto.
Okay.
They're USDA certified and inspected facility. And to be able to sell meat by the pound, you have to have that USDA stamp and number on it. Right. And so you can sell a half or a whole hog or cow at a state inspected facility, but you're basically selling a live animal that you're taking to that facility and then delivering that back to your customer.
Okay.
And so,
how often do you slaughter? And you try and keep beef in stock, I know, is that right?
We try to keep beef in stock. We have a standing appointment with the butcher every 4 to 6 weeks, and in the normal course of life, that's more than enough. Now, we are out of inventory right now because March and middle of April, up to the middle of April, we were just incredibly busy at the farm store. Everybody was wanting
beef because
and,
of
and pork,
right.
And they were concerned that there was going to be shortages. There may be some shortages in the system, you know. But yesterday we carried a steer and a hog to the butcher, and so we should be back in stock in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. Notice that we walked through a gate here, and all of the cows came up to us like, oh boy, what's going on? Tell us a little bit about why that is, Mr. Ryan.
We try to move the cows on a schedule. Now, in a perfect world, we'd move them every day at 4 o'clock, okay? Ideally, we want the cows grazing about 8 hours every 24-hour period, okay? And the reason for that is that gives them 16 hours of rest. They're going, let's say theoretically, they'll sleep for 8 hours and then they'll just rest for the 8 hours. Well, steers are making meat during that 8-hour time, and mama cows are making milk during that 8-hour rest time. And so if they're grazing all the time and having to work for their food, they're making less meat and less milk. And so in a cow-calf operation and a steer operation, you want cows grazing 6 to 8 hours and then resting for 6 to 8 hours and then sleeping, you know, a little while too. So we move them every day, and we do that because it helps improve the soil. It keeps them fit. It's great on management. I mean, if you need to move yesterday we moved these cows into the corral, and we just ran a temporary line. I say we did, the boys ran a temporary line, and we opened up the gate to the corral. They all went in. We sorted out the 2 that we needed sorted out, and we let everybody else out. We kept those 2 and loaded them on the trailer and went to town. And so moving them every day, you don't have to round up the cows, you know, you move them and they cooperate because they're accustomed to being moved.
Okay, we're out here in the pasture a little bit, and we're going to look at a little bit more of the grass. And tell us, Mr. Ryan, what type of grasses you've got out here.
We've got some oats, and I saw you pick up some oats there. There's some oats right here. There's some vetch. Now typically, you know, we're at almost May, so vetch is really beginning to play out. We've got some clovers. This is a Uchi clover, and some people will call this arrowleaf clover because it kind of looks like an arrowhead. And we've also got a red clover out here, and the red clover is really kind of beginning to play out. Now, the red clover is an annual, and this is all seed right here. And as this dries out, these seed will fall on the ground, and some of them will reseed next year. I'm sure somebody could tell you exactly how many seed are in that little seed head. There's a bunch. I don't know exactly how many. They're small, and so just from, you know, probability's sake, if there's 300 in there or 100 in there or whatever it is, a few of them are going to grow just because that's just the way that is. But the cows love the variety. I mean, they enjoy the variety, and they add more weight because you got some plants like the vetch and the clover that have higher protein. They're getting some fiber and roughage and a little bit of protein from the oats. They're also getting carbohydrates from the oats and the ryegrass, and of course they need that in their grooming. And so having the mixture, you know, it allows us to not have to plant so much of any one thing, because we do have a variety, and it all kind of behaves a little differently. And what I mean by that is if you just went out here and planted an entire field of vetch, by May 1st it would be gone. I mean, you wouldn't be able to even do it. It wouldn't be viable for any sort of grazing. But it tends to last a little bit longer because it's got some other things supporting it, other plants supporting its environment.
And tell me what we got going on here.
Well, this is a solar well. We've got 20 acres of pasture over there. We've got 10 acres of pasture here, and we're almost 2,000 feet from the dirt road. So we're a long way from everything. And so we had to have a way to water the cows when we moved them up here. We've got this wooded area behind me is going to become pasture over the next year, 18 months. And so between these three pastures, we'll have about 50 acres or so, 60 acres or so, that needs to be watered. And so the solar well provides water for the cows, and that's its primary responsibility. In days gone by, my background was in electronic engineering, and so I did a lot of research on the solar well. This particular solar well does not have any battery backup system. Batteries for solar wells are very expensive, and they have to be replaced every 3 to 5 years. And so we bought a 1,600-gallon storage tank. Now, it's not installed yet, so that's not where it'll be once it's running. I'll pour a little small concrete slab here, set it on there, and it's easier and cheaper to store water than it is to store electricity. And so, and much less maintenance. That thing will last forever unless a tree falls on it or something. But anyway, this is primarily for the purpose of just watering the cows. Cows drink a lot of water, and when they're way up here on the top of the hill, we had hauled water to them for a long time, and just about as soon as you get it hauled up here, they're done with it. And so that's the purpose of this well.
All right, we're back with Dylan Ziegler now. We're out at the pig barn. Tell us a little bit about what's going on out here.
All right, so right here we have Roxy. She just had these piglets just a couple of days ago. We're gonna let her stay in this pen for a little while until she weans pigs. And just out here is Sizzler. He's our biggest hog. He weighs about 1,000 pounds. And just out from there we have some smaller piglets and some more sows and gilts. So what I do with hogs is I usually feed them about $2 in the morning, $2 in the afternoon, and just make sure the water's all working. And I just come out throughout the day, just check on them, make sure they're sick or just whatever, or something. So, and usually when they get sick or just injured, we'll put them in here and treat them until they get ready.
Okay. So how many sows do y'all have out here?
10.
10 sows. So that's quite a number of piglets then. How often do y'all have pork then? You must have pork pretty regular.
Yes, sir. We have a standing butcher appointment every month, so we take a hog about every month.
Continuing a little tour of the little farm store here at Lazy Acres. Again, I want to say thank you to the Zieglers for letting us come out. They invite school classes out here from all over Jackson County, Calhoun County, and nearby areas come during the fall and spring for farm tours. They also do corn mazes and sometimes some pumpkin patches. First off, I want to say thank you to the Ziegler family for letting us tour their farm today. Kelly, the mom, has joined us here today. Again, Mr. Ryan and family, thank y'all so much for the tour.